Alright, hello everyone. Let's continue where we left off last time. We're on the 6th voyage now. So here we have a fun map. We're starting split apart, which is always great. So as you saw before I started the map, starting on this map we have time laws. And for this map, the time law was that if the enemy gets debuffed, they get a bunch of extra stats. The time laws are going to get crazier and crazier as we get later into this mode. Right now Rachel is still in her holy class because I got a Gift of Eternal Life and I can't really equip anything else on her. Hopefully we'll get a staff soon that I can equip on our mage class, because as you can see on maps like this where there's water, you can't really walk around that much as her holy class. Alright, equipment, and that Yggdrasil Wreath, that's the Chinese version of the Yggdrasil Wreath, because they had a Christmas version of these items. Yeah, with that Yggdrasil Wreath, things are going to be a lot simpler now, because I can just Sage's Hat, or rather give Moby down immunity to Freya, which solves a lot of problems. Like right here, you can see that Bone Dino. Bone Dinos appear all over the place, and as you probably know, like in PvE, Bone Dinos always come with RAM. So for this map, the time law is physical damage taken minus 50%, which is kind of annoying because I have 2 physical damage dealers, but it's not a big deal at this point. So right here, I let Brenda take the Bone Dino hit because I just want her to get some stacks. So even though that last boss fight was pretty challenging, you can see that the normal stages are still quite easy. The level difference just makes a huge difference. So okay, Seal, Godly Menace, and Freedom Slash. Seal is quite useful if you have an AoE team of some kind, but that's not what I'm using, so I take Godly Menace. Godly Menace would be really useful if I had a melee spellcaster of some kind, but I don't have that right now. Freedom Slash, I don't take Freedom Slash because there's really no reason to. It's not that good of a move, in my opinion. Passive Disable isn't that strong in PvE content. So right here I see another upgrade building. You can see I'm just upgrading a lot of my equipment. This one goes up to level 40, so I'm just upgrading. I tend to prioritize upgrading my weapons if I can, and then I will upgrade the armor on my tank. The armor on my DPS isn't as important as the tank armor, I believe. So this time law says within 2 blocks. At the end of turn, within 2 blocks, you'll put 1 random debuff. Yeah, just getting lots of debuffs all over the place, which is more annoying than anything right now. As I said, the enemies are still really not a threat at all. And this is where Liana is really shining, because Liana is the best cleanser in the game. So Dark Scythe, Aim, and Seal. I take Dark Scythe here. Aim might be kind of useful, but I don't see the... I just didn't take it. Seal, like I said, probably better if I had an AoE team. If I had picked Shelf and Kneel near the beginning of this mode, I probably would have taken Seal and put it on Shelf and Kneel alongside some AoE spells. So another shop. So right there you can see that ability right there is Clock, like the enchantment. That's the parry skill. That is Butterfly Dance from. This one is crit damage. So Butterfly Dance, of course, is Sumir's skill. I take the Clock, which is very powerful. And you have the Broken Star and the Last Night weapons there. I don't take those. There's really no point to taking those. So I take the Clock and the crit. I take the crit damage and put it on Lanford because he has Flash as an attack, so it makes sense to me. Clock on Brenda for obvious reasons. She has a long cooldown attack, so. So the time long for this one is physical damage taken minus 50%. Which is not a big deal because I'm still massively overleveled. That Close uses a Aurora Ring, so I just wait for them to come to me. Waste their Aurora Ring. Here I make a mistake. I probably should have only moved Freya up one space so that she could have a nice spot for getting Sage's Hatted. But I get lucky and I got the Sage's Hat on Freya anyway. So nothing to really worry about here because that Sigma is an Archer Sigma. Brenda, of course, just tears through D-Heart without a problem. So right here, I lost a guard from Freya because of Starglow from Close the turn earlier. Brenda got Clock a bunch of times thanks to her, and she got a Clock again thanks to the ability I gave her. Okay, Phoenix Dance, Godly Mess again, and Sprint. And here I take sprint, of course, because right now I'm kind of missing buff skills for my team. So I don't think I ever saw faction buffs show up in this mode, so you can't wait for faction buffs to show up, so taking sprint is an option. Alright, we are on the 7th voyage now. Okay, this one says magic damage taken minus 50%. I mean, it really doesn't matter because these enemies are still quite easy. Alright, a new character, Claret, Egbert, or Sigma. At this point I had a full party already. I wasn't really sure who I should take. Sigma comes with his Force skill, Claret comes with Thunderstrike, and Egbert comes with, I believe that was Decay. So here I decide, because I already have strong single target, or like strong striker units, I will take someone with a bit of range like Sigma, who can also be an archer. So I decided that since Lanford is my support character anyway, I will go ahead and give him sprint. I take chivalry off him for now because I don't have increased cost on him. I will be getting increased cost on him later. I decide here, you can see I'm starting to equip more skills here. Let's see if Narcos on Liana. So I have a choice between equipment and ability. I go for the equipment. So magic damage taken minus 50% again. You know, I'll take the magic damage reduction over the physical damage reduction on my enemies because I have 2 physical DPS. And Rachel's really not that strong right now anyway. Right now my biggest DPS is definitely Brenda. Right now it's kind of annoying because I keep getting a lot of equipment selections that don't really help me. So yeah, that's one of the problems of this mode. Or I guess it's not even really a problem, but rather it's just something that can happen in this mode, is that you will continuously get things that you don't need. It is pretty annoying when all 3 choices are something you don't need though. time all here has to do with moving a certain amount of blocks and having your damage affected by that. So Leona with Sea of Miracles now can also support the team, increase everyone's damage. Alright, so here I got that's Anglia Hammer from Aaron Rod, Air Slash, and Sword Soul. There's no reason for me not to take Sword Soul here. And thinking about it now, if I put Sword Soul on Sigma, that actually would have been pretty funny because I could Sword Soul from like 3 spaces away. So you can definitely think of some very interesting combos in this mode that you regularly wouldn't be able to do outside, of course. So that's definitely the most fun part of this mode, is that you can create like interesting custom builds for your characters, and you can think of different things that would have made certain characters a lot more interesting. I mean, for example, Sigma's having so much trouble outside this mode right now. I mean, you know, his archer class is just not strong enough, and his infantry class is in a lot of trouble because one of the mainstay tanks in the game is Landius, and infantry class just struggles so much against him. But if Sigma had Sword Soul, you know, that'd be completely different. But to be fair, like, you could stick Sword Soul on just about anybody, any physical DPS, and it would make them significantly better because Sword Soul is such a crazy skill. So you can see that clock enchant that I put on Brenda is just doing so much work. The clock enchant in this mode is insanely broken, and I would recommend, whenever this comes around to global, if you see that enchant pop up, you should take it because it is so ridiculous. At level 5, I believe the activation rate becomes 70% or something around that, which is just absolutely ridiculous. So here, you know, Extreme Magic Bow would be nice, but, you know, this Swordsmith Metal is always very, very powerful, so. And Silence Immune is always a very key part of PvE content. So next stage, equipment or ability again. I take equipment. So this one says when you end your turn, when the enemy ends their turn, they'll get a shield that reduces damage by 50%. Basically, this is, you know, one of those you should bring a Dispel maps, but I do not have a Dispel, so but it doesn't matter because, again, these enemies are still massively underleveled, so no problem killing them. You can see that even Brenda has trouble one-shotting these things because of how much damage reduction they have, but I can just take my time and they'll die eventually. Oh, I stand corrected. I actually did have a Noble Charge on Brenda, which does the spell. Okay, so Miracle Staff. Miracle Staff would have been really nice if I was running an AoE team. I take the Miracle Staff anyway because all 3 choices there were pretty bad. I think Bathory the Seductress is an absolutely garbage weapon, no matter where you are. Miracle Staff would have been nice if I had any actual AoE characters on my team. So, boss encounter for this map, or for this voyage. 2 Leons. Get rid of Imelda first. That way, everyone left is a physical TPS, so it really is not an issue at all. Alright, Dio's coming in here with his round attack. So I have a ton of debuffs here. So you can see the enemies are level 51 now. They are slowly catching up to me. Ruler's Bow, Blue Moon, Norge Feather Crown. Again, kind of a bad choice of items, I feel like. But at least the Blue Moon is nice for Freya. So physical damage taken minus 50%. Not a problem. So using the Forest Aura on Freya, I can move my DPS a little bit faster than across the mountain. Alright, so I get another heal spell. And instead of taking an AoE heal, I realize that I can just take the basic heal again, and what I realized here is that Freya is one of the few tanks that uses intelligence as her attacking stat. So what that means is that I can actually equip the heal spell onto Freya, and she will be able to heal a decent amount. So essentially what I've done here is that I have turned Freya into almost like a paladin sort of character class. She can heal, she can tank, and she provides a bit of support. So this is pretty much my Freya's final build at this point, although I do need a better guard skill for her. So Freya is probably the most unique unit I made during my playthrough of this mode, and I found this Freya a lot of fun to play with. So next I can pick another piece of equipment or another ability. Of course, I am also looking at the upcoming stages to determine which one I want to go to. I want the equipment. I also didn't want to go to the bottom stage for the next stage because the bottom stage's time law was cannot guard. Unfortunately, I realized that this stage is also cannot guard, so I probably should have paid attention to that. But that's okay. Like, you know, these enemies I spread apart far enough so that I can deal with them without having to worry about it. So of course there's no real point to putting up guard here because guard is disabled with time wall. Again, I get 3 drops that are just basically useless for me. Bloody Melody, I don't need it. Draupnir, don't need it. Mjolnir, don't really need it. But at least the Draupnir can be a temporary piece of equipment if I need it. So I put the Draupnir on Liana just for the intelligence for now, and Brenda gets the Swordsmith medal, which, you know, the defense doesn't help her that much, but the plus 5% to all stats is useful. So I switch Liana over to Holy and Rachel into Mage so that she can equip the Red Moon now, and she can fly around now. So you can see so it's the time wall was damage taken minus when you are within 2 blocks of an ally. Again, I really don't care. My units are strong enough to just sort of brute force my way past this. Again, more trash. Eye of the Beholder is okay. Reaper Breath, Blue Moon, or Blue Star rather. Blue Star is, in my opinion, Blue Star is a terrible weapon. So I just throw my X-ray equipment out to Sigma. Might as well. In case somebody dies, I can just use Sigma. So earlier, if I had chosen one of the bottom stages, at this point I probably would have chosen either the middle. Like, I would have tried moving towards the top because I realized that there is a store coming up near the end, and I want to be able to reach that. If I took only the bottom routes, then I would not be able to go to the store. This is one portion of the mode that I feel like they can expand a little bit on, because at the moment it's actually kind of shallow. Really, the only thing you really need to look out for is there a store coming up, and do I want to go to it? Because if there is, then just obviously just plot your course accordingly. From what I saw, there is not that huge of differences between the routes in terms of time wall. I mean, although sometimes it's like 50% physical damage reduction versus 50% magical reduction. In that case, obviously, you would go for whichever one you're more comfortable with, probably. Okay, so an ability. Okay, HP. That was HP. That's this one's infantry critical damage. I think the infantry critical damage just to stack more for Lanford. So abilities, you cannot equip identical abilities. For example, like if they have the exact same symbol or in the exact same name, you cannot equip two of them on the same character. But you can stack two of the same type of upgrade if they have different symbols. So right here you can see Dragon Slayer, Graham, Pale Staff, Broken Star. I don't like any of those. That is Unbreakable Guardian, which is useless. That is. And these are some abilities. So I equipped this Toguro Brothers looking ability, which is a damage reduction ability. So like I was saying, you can equip two abilities that have the same effect if they have different symbols. So for example, there are a lot of abilities that say like, oh, this increases critical damage for infantry. You can stack that with a generic critical damage increase, but you cannot stack that with another infantry critical damage increase. And as you'll see in some of the later levels, that's pretty much precisely what you want to do. So we have a Renata here. Annoyingly, I was not able to kill the Close on turn 1, so I'm gonna have to deal with the Aurora Ring here. So I move Lanford first so he can put up the Aura. I'll run Brenda in. Run Brenda in the right spot before I do that. And kill Renata because I don't want Renata running around and piercing guard and stuff. That is very annoying. And annoyingly here, Oliver stole the guard skill, or stole my guard from Freya. But not a problem. The rest of the enemies should be relatively easy to kill. So I got it. So now I can get another talent as an ability. So you can see right here, that is Juggler's talent, that is Lana's talent, and that is Ultimator's talent. I already got Ultimator's talent, which is kind of annoying that I rolled it a second time in a row. Lana's talent would be really great if it didn't say magic damage specifically, because imagine equipping that on just random characters. Unfortunately, it is magic only, so, and I don't have very strong magic damage dealer, so I take the Juggler talent, of course, and the Juggler talent is going to be really great once I put it on Freya here. It would be interesting to see what PvP would look like if you had this level of customization in the entire game. Although I'm pretty sure it would be pretty cancer because every single person would be equipping Sword Soul on everybody and that sort of thing. Get rid of the stupid healer. You saw right there that the screen kind of cut off for a second. That's because I believe that's because the recording got interrupted. Alright, this one is HP, this one is there's HP, defense, and HP. The HP is for infantry classes. I take it because there's really nothing else to take, so I decided to just, I just equip random things on Sigma, just because. So equipment or ability, I of course still go for equipment. I still have so many slots that are unfilled because I keep rolling garbage for my equipment stages. I mean, I'm not even really looking for specific pieces of equipment or anything. I'm just looking for things that I can fill in, but the game keeps deciding to give me the exact same slots that I already have filled. And, that's just something that's going to happen with RNG. So you can see right here, Freya is just a goddess. She is insanely tanky. The abilities I put on her gave her so much damage reduction. And of course she also has the juggler talent, so she is also healing people every time she gets hit. Really the only thing that Freya is missing is ranged counter. Alright, Death Robe, Extreme Magic Bow, Miracle Staff again. Again, still giving me slots that I already have filled, so... But I believe the armor is actually... Yes, I do not have the body slot filled for one of my mages, so I just take the Death Robe. Like you can see, I'm not being picky about what I'm getting. It's that I keep getting the slots I already had filled, which is a big problem. Or straight up equipment that I can't use. So Brenda with her clock and her Actican is just wreaking all kinds of havoc. Alright, Prayer, Strong Arm, and a Sprint again. I mean, I really don't need Prayer at this point, and Strong Arm, it would have been nice to get a guard that guards magic. I take the Prayer anyway, because none of those three skills would have been particularly useful for me, but took Prayer just in case I get another healer or something. So I stay in place because of the Unicorn. The Unicorn does magic damage, and I still don't have magic guard, so I just made the Unicorn run directly into Freya. You can see Brenda with all her insane damage. Even attacking into an infantry, she still kills them. Dragon Slayer, Feather Duster, Assault Armor. Again, useless. I don't need any of these items. I take the Feather Duster just in case, because sometimes Feather Duster is nice to have for some cheese strats. So here I start. So I finally get to another upgrade building. So I definitely start giving skill cost increases to all my characters because that was a problem I was running into. So I can upgrade equipment to level 40 here. So here I can get equipment up, skills up to level, or abilities up to level 3. You can see right here the clock. It says it's at level 2 it was 40%. Now it's level 3 it's 50%, and at level 4, which is maxed out, it has a 70% chance of clocking, which is just absolutely insane. Okay, so this enemy range +1. Okay. So this is going to be kind of an annoying stage, just because enemies going to attack an extra space. So annoyingly, Hein comes over here and kills Brenda. And Brenda was unable to one-shot Layard, which is a bit of a problem. But thanks to the MAI being dumb, Layard suicides himself. So right here you can see like I lost 2 units already. So this is just going to be a slow going map where I just rely on Freya to guard everybody as I take them out one by one. This is especially annoying because the enemies have an extra range on their attacks. But thankfully, so I can't really get overwhelmed here because I had put heal on Freya earlier. Just take out Hein. Another star up item. Okay, so we have. So that is Ashram's revive attack. I'm definitely taking that because having a revive is just so nice, especially in this mode. The other 2 attacks were also very strong attacks, but I figured Ashram's revive attack is just so nice for this mode. Put on Brenda, of course. So here I have a guy inviting me to Guild Wars over and over because he doesn't understand that no means I don't want to go. Meanwhile, I am just doing some house cleaning. So I am about to get another character here, which I don't really need at this point because I feel like this 5-man team that I've created works pretty well. There's a couple ways you can go about this mode. You can either rely very heavily on a 5-man team that you have confidence in, like I'm doing here. But the problem with doing that is if any of them die, then you're going to have to burn a revive. So you can see right here is that the Freya soldiers are all died pretty quick. But Freya herself has so much damage reductions that she is basically taking no damage from a lot of these enemies. Close call there with Brenda. I disconnect again there, which is always fun. Okay, so I have a choice between Juggler, Angelica, and Quilbara. Juggler is kind of pointless here. I already have Juggler's talent. Quilbara I think would actually be a really good tank in this mode, because since Tiaras never appears, Quilbara's talent actually heals him up anytime his HP is below a certain amount, which is basically a poverty healing light. But here I take Angelica because I already have a very stable tank, so I figure I'll just take a mage. Of course, Angelica isn't that useful. Her talent does not help her damage at all, and the skill she comes with is a summon spell that is not that useful. Right, Langrisser, Graham, Vidar's Rose. I take Vidar's Rose. I mean, the other two items there, again, not that useful to me. So you can see that like the equipment stages are really screwing me over a lot because they just constantly give me slots that I don't really need. Fireball kills Lanford. So this is the first time I'm losing a unit pretty early on in the voyage. So that means I'm not going to be able to use Lanford for the rest of the stages unless I revive him. Okay, Wind Spiral, Meteor, and Justice from Emilia. Justice doesn't work that well in this mode, in my opinion, because you don't have a lot of control over what equipment you get. So it's hard to stack the magic defense needed in order to make Justice and other conversion skills like that work really well. Special exception to Layden's Divine Guard, because Layden takes both defense and magic defense, so it doesn't really matter as much which items you get. But anyway, I get Meteor, and I was sort of building Angelica to be an AoE mage, just in case I need one of those, but Angelica is not terribly good at doing that. So here I realized that apparently I walked into a stage that disables guard. I didn't realize that because I didn't read, but that's okay. So I lose Rachel as well, but this enemy healer is just really getting on my nerves because they heal for just so much. So the only thing nice about really annoying battles of attrition like this is that you're given a lot of turns in this mode to finish each map. I have 20 turns here, so I can just slowly chip at them if I want, but it's just very annoying to try to kill this healer while he constantly heals himself. So right now I'm down 2 of my heroes, which can be a problem later on. Again, more items that I don't need. The flower bonnet might be kind of useful, but I take the extreme magic bow because I forgot that I already took one earlier. So that one just says attack for infantry classes. You have an Overlord badge, which is nice. Devil's Axe, Goddess Dress, an Aes's Helm. Overlord badge, of course, is worth taking. The rest of them I pretty much passed over. I didn't really need any of them. And here we arrive at the boss fight for the 10th voyage, and like the boss fight in the 5th voyage, this is clearly like a pre-designed like boss fight that was meant to be challenging. So you have Shelfenil and Angelina here. You have an interesting skill set. So this Shelfie reduces cooldowns on any ally within 4 blocks after she ends her turn. She can counter at basically any range. She has an AoE that does 0.8 times damage, which is really, really high multiplier for an AoE, and it also does more damage the further away you are from her, so you don't want to run too far away from her. Aside from that, she also has a AoE that pushes you back, so basically she tries to push you back and then nuke you with that AoE. The Angie doesn't really have anything special in her talent, but she does have Aqua Blast, which is a very powerful single target strike. She has Lonely Moon, which basically always activates because she's a boss and does not have troops. And she also has a move that's basically reinforces Star Stab. So basically, you want to fight the Shelfenil here and get rid of her first, all the while Angelina is harassing you. So you can see I failed my first attempt at this stage. I realized that I've relied a little bit too heavily on my core units, so that bringing in the less powerful units I have, like Sigma and Angelica, at this point is just a really bad idea. So I use a revive. But I mean, keep in mind that I'm already halfway through this event, and this is the first time I've really used a revive, and I get 3 revives per voyage. They reset after each time you beat an entire voyage, so it it really shows that they scaled the difficulty on this mode a little bit too low, I think. I mean, I do think there's a lot of variables to account for, which I think is one of the reasons you don't want to scale the difficulty too high, because you don't want to get into a situation where a lot of people are just a lot of people end up with teams that they literally can't beat the mode with. But now that I'm using my regular team that I was progressing with, you'll see that having a much easier time getting rid of them. Killing Shelfinil quickly is pretty much the key here, I think, because she's just so annoying with that giant AoE she does. And she's actually pretty frail if you have good enough DPS, so... Now I can just surround Angelina and bully her. Alright, that is the 10th voyage done. Take the King's Crown, and we'll take another break here, and we'll continue in the next video.